Now, the week got off to not the greatest start for the King, as he was heckled by a protester yesterday during a visit to Staffordshire. Let's take a look.
How long have you known about Andrew and Epstein? Have you asked the police to cover up for Andrew? Have you asked the police to cover up for Andrew? What do you think? Should the MPs be allowed to debate the lawyers in the House of Commons? Or anything?
Yeah, the King is, he's facing pressure to do more about his brother, with some urging him to force Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson out of their Windsor mansion. Do you think, Kelly, that the King does need to speak up about this?
I don't really think the King does need to speak up about this because it's not his mess. Yes, he's the head of our state, he's the head of our country. However, the person I want to hear from is Andrew. I want him to be honest, be transparent, and
he has. I mean, he's given several statements in the past,
yes.
And he said, "I've decided, as I always have, to put my duty to my family and country first. I stand by my decision 5 years ago to stand back from public life. As I've said previously, I vigorously deny the accusations against me."
Yeah, we can say that, and that's a great statement. However, new evidence has come to light.
Yeah.
So now I want you to deal with the new evidence that's come to light, and I think that's what everybody wants to know, the truth.
But the important thing is he has never been charged with anything.
Yes.
And that is hugely important. But where people are asking for a statement from the King, what would it even say?
But I think that's just evidence of the frustrations of people. You know, they're never going to, get to actually sit down and say, look, Andrew, what happened? And so when they've got an opportunity to speak to somebody that they feel is in a position of power, rightly or wrongly, those frustrations overspill and they're just saying and venting what they're actually feeling.
Well, I think there is a huge element of frustration amongst members of the public, and if claims are to be believed today, what Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson are asking for is to move from that big house, which is Royal Lodge, and move into two houses, so they would have a house each. And I think that's quite difficult for the public to get their heads around, Judy, isn't it?
I think the public are probably frustrated because people have done less and had more, response and action taken. And I think the issue is, as well, being like the head of state in the royal family, I suppose people are putting him in that place where they're expecting more, they're expecting them to say something. They have made statements about other issues that has happened within the family or, about things that's happened in the world or in the UK. So I think that expectation is on them. My thing would be is, when does the line stop when it comes to speaking about family members, whether it's them or anybody else? But the reality is they are different to anybody else. So I think that's where the frustration comes from.
Yeah, and I think also, they're moving from accommodation into accommodation, which it doesn't rely on the public purse. Yes. If we're talking about Frogmore Cottage and Adelaide Cottage, it's not really, it doesn't come out of the public purse. But they are still huge properties. Frogmore Cottage, 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. Adelaide Cottage, 4 bedrooms. So for a lot of people, it's like, OK, so you've lived together before.
In a 30-room mansion.
In a in a mansion.
30, yeah.
But you can't live together in a 5-bedroom cottage which has 35 acres. I think for normal members of the public, I'd be like, come on. Like, why? We don't have that option. I think a lot of people
the normal public would be saying, have you seen a council flat recently?
Yeah. That's the thing. I think it's worth speaking and saying something because of that financial aspect, because people still want to know where the money is going. And I think when it comes to him moving out, it makes it very clear that this is not from the public. This will be from our royal fund. So I think the public is waiting for some sort of communication, and not maybe through press, but through the actual royal family themselves, just so they know, OK, we're being transparent with you. We're here. We represent you. So we want you to know that we are thinking about you. And at that moment, it is a family thing, but it's feeling a little bit disconnected from some of us because we're still wondering what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, this is a story which has been running for about 15 years now, and it still takes as much interest amongst the public as it always has done. And so I imagine that within the royal household, it's a case of we need to put a full stop on this. We cannot be talking about this anymore. So it'll be interesting to see what happens for the rest of the week. And I'll put a plug in for my royal show, which happens on Sunday afternoon.
Let's go,
called Talking Royals, and we'll have a roundup of everything of the week this week, Sunday at 12:30.